Well, I'm here with Keith Stubbs, and I'm so excited because you are the founder of Dry Bar Comedy. I've gotten to visit. So fantastic, so fun. So for our readers who don't know what it is, tell us about it and why you started it.
Dry Bar Comedy was founded about 5 years ago, and it was actually Neil and Jeffrey Harmon who founded it. And they brought me on because I've been in the comedy business a whole long time, like a really long time, probably too long, some would say. And I book all the talent. And then now at this point, I'm president of Dry Bar Comedy. But Dry Bar Comedy, we basically are the largest supplier or provider of clean stand-up comedy in the world. We have over 500 comedy specials out there, and our motto is funny for everyone, and it's great comedy.
Well, what type of response have you gotten from viewers? Because you are sort of the first to do this.
The viewers have been great. I think a lot of them are surprised that it is clean, but they don't realize it's clean. They just realize that it's funny, which is very rewarding. As a comedian, you don't want to be known as a clean comic. You want to be known as funny, and you don't want to be considered corny, because there's certain things. This is, as a comedian, this are the things that you don't really want to hear. What you want to hear is, man, that was funny. And I think a lot of the people that watch Dry Bar, they do know that it's clean at some point, but that's not really the only reason that they're there. It's truly funny.
Well, I want to hear about your own history in comedy. Share a little bit about your backstory.
Okay. Well, I started doing comedy in 91.
I was born in 91.
Wow, I'm old. Okay, so I did. I was living in Los Angeles, and I started doing comedy there. I went to open mic nights like every comic does, and you try a couple of jokes. Someone told you that you were funny, or maybe you got a laugh at work, and I'm going to try that on stage and see if it goes. And it's a battle. It's a journey. It's something that you work on continuously as a comedian. You're always looking for new material or a way to make your material better. But I started in LA auditioning, and then I started touring all over the country. You name it, every bar, honky-tonk, church, banquet room, anywhere I could get on stage, I toured and performed there. And that's the same with most of the Dry Bar comedians that have these comedy specials. Many of them you've probably never heard of, but they're so talented. They've worked so hard, and now they're exposed to a big audience. We have 10 million social media subscribers right now, and we have 500 comics that have just knocked it out of the park.
So you have always been attracted to clean comedy. You've always sort of been in that world.
Yeah, I think so, but I'll be honest with you, dirty comedy is easier. I know that some people may disagree with that, but I can tell you, because I was never, at the beginning, I wasn't an exclusively clean comedian. I became that way. I evolved that way, especially as I started having children and wanted my kids to be able to see the show. I went, man, I can't do that. There were things that I regret that I did, and I wish I hadn't done. And so I was able to clean up my act. And what's shocking is that I was able to clean it up and still be pretty much the same guy and the same comedian with the same type of material, but without some of the things that were embarrassing to me that I shouldn't have done. And I'll tell you a quick story. What happened to me was I had done a television show in LA, and I was on the road touring, and when the television show aired, and my mom called me, and she was in Charleston, which is where I'm from, and she said, "Hey, Keith, what are you doing?" I said, well, I was in Vancouver, British Columbia. I will never forget this, doing shows up in Canada. She said, "What are you doing?" I go, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I saw you on TV." And I was like, I feel horrible. Horrible. And at that point, I began to rethink everything I was doing as far as a comedian goes. And then as I got married and had children, I said, I'm not going to go that road at all. So now I can do any of my material anywhere. It doesn't matter if it is a bar or a honky-tonk or a festival or a concert. I opened for Joan Rivers in concert. I opened for Jim Gaffigan in concert. I've worked with a lot of Jeff Foxworthy, but I can do the same material no matter where I am. And that's very comforting, because a lot of times comics, and with Dry Bar as well, they'll say, "Oh man, I can't do this joke," or I've got to change it. And it's tough having to change your material to suit a certain audience. And I'm telling you, it is calming to be able to just do your stuff, do your material, not have to make any changes, because the objectionable content that you maybe once did doesn't exist anymore.
What drives this misconception that you do have to be dirty to be in comedy? Because we're seeing this even in kids' TV shows. I have a 3-year-old son, and I'll watch shows with him, and I'll be like, well, why did they have to put that in there? He doesn't even know what that means, so why'd they put that in there? So what is driving this?
I think it's the culture. I think the culture, not just comedy-wise. A lot of people think, well, comedy's gone pretty raw, and that's true. I totally agree with that, but so is everything. So is fashion. So is TV. So is films. Any art has all gone that way, and it's created a void. Like comedy-wise, when I first started, you'd watch comedy on The Tonight Show, and that's you'd see it there. There were some HBO specials, but mainly it was just The Tonight Show where you saw most of the content that you did see. The internet didn't exist at that point when you were born in 1991. But now that it changed, I think things got looser, things got a little crazier, and I think people got away from some of the clean content. So at Dry Bar, we're filling that void. There's a huge market for what we do, and it's unrecognized by, or it was, I believe, by a lot of the industry. When we first started Dry Bar, I have relationships with all the big agents at William Morris Agency, Gersh Agency, ICM, CAA, you name them, I know them. And I've known them for a long time. And when I told them about Dry Bar and what we were doing, they were like, what? Is there? They didn't believe there's a market for that. There's only a market for this type of comedy, whatever that is. And I said, no, there's a whole bunch of people that want this, what we have to offer at Dry Bar. Now, after seeing the success, those same agents will call me and say, how do I get my comedian that I represent on Dry Bar? They want to be a part of it. And now it's respected, and they understand what it is now, but they had no idea. So it was underserved. There was really not a lot of content out there for families or for people that just want cleaner type comedy.
Do you think that that's going to change? Do you think Dry Bar is being part of a change that we will hopefully see in mainstream culture one day when it comes to comedy?
I don't know that it will change.
Okay.
But I do believe that we're filling a void, a huge void that pretty much did not exist unless you saw Jim Gaffigan or Brian Regan or some of these other mainstream comics that are very, very funny. And they're also clean comedians, but they're absolutely hilarious. But there were very few of them on television. And Dry Bar is giving that opportunity to these comedians that, like I said, that are just so funny and so talented, but not really recognized yet. And they're getting that opportunity to perform for millions of viewers. I mean, we have 10 million social media subscribers right now. So there is truly an audience, and the audience continues to grow. And once again, more and more of the talented comedians are starting to see it our way, and they want to be part of it.
I think I saw a statistic that said your audience is bigger than Comedy Central.
It depends on where you look, but yes, in social media, we have a huge audience. And once again, it's growing. Like, we'll begin taping season 10 coming up next month. So we'll have 30 more comedians performing, and you've been there. So it's a great venue, and we're going to just continue to create more content. You know, when we first started, there were people asking me, are there enough clean comics out there? I mean, how are you going to continue to provide this content for the people? There's only so many clean comics. How many times can Gaffigan or Regan do these specials? I go, no, there's a lot out there. And I will tell you this, there's more than I even thought. Wow. There really are. And I know a lot of people in this business, but I thought, man, at some point, maybe they're right. Maybe there aren't as many, but there really are that have just not had the opportunity.
How are you finding these comics? What's the process like?
I know a lot of them,
okay,
just because I've been doing it for a long time. So they'll reach out to me. And what's interesting, many times I'll say, man, you need to do a Dry Bar special. You'd be great. And they're like, I don't know. And at the beginning, particularly when they didn't know what it was, didn't understand it, it sounded weird to them, right? Because it's so out of the norm and how the show business works in the entertainment industry. They were like, I don't know. And now many of those same comedians reach out and go, man, when can I tape? When can I do a special? And it's very rewarding. And these are comedians that you've seen on Last Comic Standing, Tonight Show. They've been on Netflix, Comedy Central. They've done all of these things. So they have credibility and a ton of talent. But they were maybe a little skeptical at the beginning of being involved with this other project with Dry Bar.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible, because this could be life-changing for somebody.
It is. And there are many comedians that with this opportunity, because the comedians, I don't know if I get into this, but the comedians receive residual income on the specials that they shoot. So when we shoot a Comedy Central, a Dry Bar comedy special, there's an opportunity to make back-end residual money. And comics, I can tell you, are not used to that. They're pretty much used to doing a gig, wherever that gig is, you get paid your money, and you move on. Even if you did the Tonight Show, they pay you scale, you get $1,000, whatever it is, and a T-shirt, and you're on your way. And they can repeat that same thing 100 times, and you've been paid, and that's it. We pay the comedians to come to our studio. We film the comedy specials, and if their material and their special resonates with the audience, which many do, they make residual quarterly income. So it's changed the lives of a lot of comedians because it is a tough business. I mean, I was on the road. I did all this, and I know how hard it is to make money. Even if you're great, really funny, it's hard to make money. So there are comedians that quarterly receive checks in the 5 figures regularly from us, just from shooting one special with us with Dry Bar. So it's really rewarding for me to see some of these comedians being rewarded monetarily. Also, they're making more money on private shows and corporate gigs and road gigs because people have now seen them. They go, oh, I saw you on Dry Bar. You have 2 million views on Dry Bar. I'm a fan. So their fan base has grown. They make more money. And it's really, it's satisfying to me as a comic who's been around a long time to see some of these comics that are peers of mine have a lot of success.
Yeah, that's incredible. So what are some of the principles that guide Dry Bar comedy? What are you sort of looking for when you find these comics?
Well, we're looking for comedians, and there are comedians, by the way, that may have material that you go, we can't do that on Dry Bar. And I'll tell them that. I'll say, this isn't going to fly, man. You can't do that joke. That is not going to work. That's not on brand. That's not who our audience is. So it's basically, it's sexual, it's profanity, it's innuendo, it's overly political. There are political viewpoints, and they're strong viewpoints. So it's not watered down comedy at all. But there are certain things that you'd like to be able to share and see as a family or hanging out with friends or wherever it is that isn't going to disrupt your good time.
Yeah. So what's next for Dry Bar comedy?
We're going to be expanding into other areas. We've got improv we're going to be doing. It's Dry Bar sketch shows. Also, we have some game shows that we're working on. Also, a comedy competition where the winner gets to shoot a Dry Bar comedy special. And of course, we're going to continue to produce more of the content, more comedy specials. We release 3 a week on our app.
Wow.
So we have an app. It's Dry Bar Comedy Plus. 3 brand new specials a week on that app, plus the existing library that's also on the app. So we have that content and then just specials everywhere. We signed a distribution deal with Comedy Dynamics, which is the largest mainstream comedy distributor in the world.
Wow.
And we're part of that. So we continue to grow. We're hunkering down. We're fighting the good fight, and it's working out.
Fantastic. Well, Keith, thank you so much.
Thank you.